Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. It has now been 3 years since Syracuse's magical 2018 season where the Orange went 10-3. Since then, the Orange are just 6-17, including a 1-10 record in 2020 where 8 of their 10 losses were decided by double digits. The major question going into 2021 is, will anything change for the Orange? They returned 19 starters. Does that mean anything? Will the Orange be more competitive? And will this be the last year for Dino Babers, as he is just 24-36, now entering year 6 with the Orange? So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Make sure to hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our prediction videos going forward, as we predict every Power 5 team from now until the start of the college football season. Also, make sure to check out everything down in the description below, including our brand new expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. There you can find not just some of the best college football spread picks in the entire country, but some of the best NFL spread picks in the entire country, as we have now added that for our 5-year channel anniversary. So all of that with some of the lowest prices in the country over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Highly recommend you go check it out. So again, let's take a look at Syracuse, guys. They have 19 starters back, 1-10 in 2020. Can they change something in 2021? 9 starters return on offense of one of the worst teams and one of the worst offenses in the country. The Orange averages 17.8 points per game, 117th in the nation. Averaged 265.3 total yards per game. That was good for 125th in the nation, again, out of 130 FBS teams. There's now a quarterback battle going on in the Carrier Dome. Tommy DeVito, last year's starter, is up against Garrett Schrader, the transfer quarterback from Mississippi State, a guy who might very well win this job for Dino Babers in 2021. Outside of the quarterback battle, though, Sean Tucker returns at running back, had 626 yards, 4 touchdowns last year. Taj Harris is back as the top wide receiver, 733 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2020. The point we're trying to make here is, if they can find a quarterback, the talent is there for the Orange offense to skyrocket, to take a major step forward. It's just a matter of, can they find a capable quarterback to do that, and can the offensive line hold up after being one of the worst in the country for each of the last 2 seasons. The defense for Syracuse returns 10 starters, but like the offense, the defense was one of the worst in the entire nation as well. They allowed 32.7 points per game, 463.9 yards per game, and 209.1 rushing yards per game, good for 104th in the country. Tony White returns as defensive coordinator, trying to implement his 3-3-5 scheme in his second year. The problem is, with a 3-3-5 scheme, you've got 5 guys in your backfield, 5 guys in your secondary. Andre Cisco, one of the best in the country last year, is now departed to the NFL, and the secondary is now going to be the weakest point for Syracuse entering 2021. The front 7 right now looks solid. Michael Jones is back up front as the leading tackler from last year and the interception leader from last year. But again, we know that one player cannot make an entire defense. One player cannot make an entire offense. 19 starters back for the Orange. Usually, that's a good thing. Usually, that means a huge year for the given team. That might not be the case for Dino Babers and his squad in 2021. So we take a look at the Orange schedule right now. It's tough, to say the least. Opens up with a road game at Ohio. That's not a given. You know, we know that Group of 5 teams are rising now. We know the gap between some Power 5 teams and Group of 5 teams, it's getting smaller and smaller by the day. This is a prime example right here. They travel on the road to take on the Bobcats, who return 14 starters. 14 starters, a team that has a lot of 5th and 6th year players because of everything that went on last year with COVID. This Ohio team, though, only played 3 games in 2020, of course, again, due to COVID. But this is a team that is a legitimate MAC title contender. They are legitimate contenders in the MAC. And this is going to be a dogfight for Syracuse. In the end, though, I believe they have enough to go on the road and get the win over Ohio. I believe Syracuse does defeat Ohio, but it might not be by much. 1-0. They then return home to the Carrier Dome to take on Rutgers. And I like this matchup, guys, because, you know, Rutgers is on the rise. This is a couple years ago, you would have said it's the worst team in the ACC, one of the worst teams in the ACC, and the worst team in the Big Ten. That's not necessarily the case now in 2021. This Rutgers team is improving. They returned 19 starters from last year's squad that went 3-6, and you'll say that's horrible. 3-6, that's no good. When you look at how poorly Rutgers have been doing under Chris Ash, winning 3 games, all of those Big Ten conference games, was huge. Greg Schiano is quickly turning this program around. Noah Vedral is back at quarterback. Isaiah Pacheco is back at running back. Bo Melton is back as their top wide receiver. The offense is starting to click. 8 starters are back on defense. Schiano, a defensive-minded coach. And I wholeheartedly believe that Schiano could have this team in a bowl game in 2021. If not now, definitely in 22. But because of that, and because everything we just said, you kind of know where we're going with this, we believe Rutgers beat Syracuse in the Carrier Dome. They returned 19 starters just like Syracuse, but when you look at it from a coaching standpoint and from a trajectory standpoint, where Rutgers is right now, where Syracuse is right now, even though Rutgers was struggling so much, there is a gap there. And the Scarlet Knights are improving. They had 2 one-possession losses last year, too. Easily could have been a 5-4 year for the Scarlet Knights. They get a quality road win against a Power 5 opponent in Week 2. Syracuse drops to 1-1. We believe the Orange take care of Albany in Week 3, but that is not a given, guys. Jeff Undercuffler is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the FCS next year. We know, if you watch the FCS spring season, you know what some of these guys are capable of. This is not a surefire victory for Syracuse at all, without a doubt. But we do believe they will get the win over the Great Danes. But like Ohio, could be very close. And then to round out their non-conference schedule, they play a Friday night game at home against Liberty. Last year, the Orange hosted the Flames as well, but lost to Hugh Freeze and Malik Willis by 17, 38-21. Liberty now returns 20 starters, including Hugh Freeze back as their head coach, and including Malik Willis, who led all FBS quarterbacks when it came to rushing last year. If they won by 17 last year and returned almost everybody from last year's squad that ended their year with a win over Coastal Carolina in their bowl game, what makes you think that Liberty can't beat Syracuse now? The Orange will fall to Liberty on Friday night. And just like that, Syracuse is 2-2, splitting their non-conference games. They kick off ACC play at Florida State. And I will say that I feel like this could be a winnable game for Syracuse if it was in the Carrier Dome. But to travel to a potential sold-out stadium in Tallahassee, a Florida State squad that needs every single win they can get to try to get back to the postseason in a big year 2 for Mike Norvell, I'm not feeling a win here for the Orange. Jordan Travis will be under center. Maybe Mackenzie Milton will be under center. But the offense should improve greatly, I believe, under Mike Norvell. He's an offensive-minded coach who returned plenty of talent on that side of the ball. The defense is the major question mark right now for Florida State. But again, Syracuse's offense is not going to really scare anybody. So Florida State gets the win at home. Wake Forest then comes to the Carrier Dome. Syracuse lost to the Demon Deacons 38-14 last year. Wake Forest returns 19 starters from last year's squad. 19 starters, including everybody on offense. Their quarterback in Sam Hartman and one of the best wide receivers in the country in Jakari Robertson. He is back. That's not just one of the best, again, in the ACC, but one of the best in the entire nation. Even though this game is in the Carrier Dome, you look at this, the offense is going to exploit this secondary for the Orange, and Wake Forest defense is a little underrated. This is not a game that Dave Clawson is going to lose. They won by 24 last year. Expect a relatively similar result now in 2021. Then Syracuse faces Clemson on a Friday night. I think we know what will happen there. They will fall to the Tigers in blowout fashion. They fell to Clemson 47-21 last year, 26 points. It'll probably be around that mark, even more in 2021. Not much to discuss there because not to dog Syracuse, but I don't know if anyone in the ACC can defeat Clemson this year. And really, they haven't lost to anybody in the ACC in years now. No one's been able to be at the level in the ACC. No one's been able to be at Clemson's level within the conference for years. And it's not going to change anytime soon. So after a 2-2 start, they have now lost 3 straight games, including all of those being in the conference play. We're going to make it 4 straight games when they travel to Virginia Tech, who I still believe is a top 4, top 5 team in the ACC. While their offense may sputter at times, while their offense certainly has questions, especially at quarterback, Braxton Burmeister will get the start, but there's not much depth there. If he goes down or plays poorly, what's next for the Hokies? That's a bridge they'll cross if they have to. But the defense is where they're going to really be their strength, where they're going to really win games. 8 starters back on the defensive side of the ball for Justin Fuente and the Hokies. The game is at Lane Stadium, potentially a night game at Lane Stadium. Even if it's not, it's one of the most difficult places to play in the country. We expect full capacity and full sold-out stadiums for many teams across the country this year. Virginia Tech does not drop this game. Syracuse loses again. They then play Boston College on October 30th. They only fell to the Eagles by 3 last year. Only fell to Boston College by 3 points last year, 16-13. But I will say there's probably some more factors to that than we realize. Boston College was a good team last year, 6-5, 5-5 in conference play. Will be even better this year with 18 returning starters. Boston College was coming off a heartbreaking loss to Clemson when they played Syracuse. They had a bit of a hangover game, barely survived the Orange. I don't expect that to be the case now on October 30th. 18 returning starters with a dynamic duo with Phil Jurkovec and Zay Flowers and a defense that could crack the top 60, 50 in the entire country. BC gets the win, even though it is on the road. Syracuse gets their bye at the beginning of November, and that's another downside to Syracuse's schedule. We mentioned how poorly they might play anyways, and we mentioned how difficult the schedule was going to be. The opponents alone are tough enough. The layout is tough enough, but they don't get a bye week until November 6th. They have to play 9 straight games before they even get a bye week. I mean, you can't ask for anything worse than that. You would like it to be a little earlier, maybe middle of October, beginning of October. It did not work out very well for the Orange. And I will say this, that at this point in the season, guys, Syracuse could win out and they're not going bowling. The best they could do, based on our projections now, is go 5-7. So you begin to wonder, first off, will Dino Babers be fired? Will Dino Babers be fired at some point in the middle of the season if this is how things go? And if he's not, you begin to question the motivation for the Orange. They can't go bowling. There's literally nothing to play for other than a little bit of pride. How much of that do they have left after a 1-10 season last year? Where is Syracuse's mind at as they begin to end their season, as they go to this final stretch of the season? It's something you have to keep in mind if they play as poorly as we think they will. They get their bye week. They go on the road to Louisville, a team they lost to 30-0 last year. And again, if we use a little bit of our logic here, while we know that Syracuse is coming off this week rested, coming into this game rested, both these teams were bad last year. Louisville went 4-7, Syracuse 1-10. Syracuse lost them 30-0 last year, and we're expecting Louisville to be better than they were last year. How can we say Louisville loses this game, especially at home? Syracuse drops this game to the Cardinals. They then travel to NC State. Syracuse only lost to the Wolfpack by 7 last year, 36-29. Another very solid performance from Dino Babers and the Orange, where they fell just short. Remember, although 8 of their 10 losses, again, were by double digits. The 2 that were not were Boston College and NC State. But the Wolfpack returned 17 starters. Devin Leary is back at quarterback. Their top 2 rushers are back. Some of their top wide receivers are back, including Emeka Emezi. This NC State team is what many think could be one of Dave Doeren's best ever during his time there. 9 years now with the program. At NC State, don't see it happening for Syracuse. And they conclude the season with a home game against Pittsburgh, and I think Pittsburgh is probably Syracuse's worst nightmare. If the Orange's offensive line does not improve, and I don't think it's going to improve that drastically, they're going to struggle yet again against the Panthers, a team that ranked 2nd in the country last year with 4.18 sacks per game. One of the best defensive lines, one of the best pass rushes in the country for the last few years, one of the best secondaries in the country for the last few years. They were a top 20 defense in 2020, had a very good chance to remain a top 20, top 30 defense in 2021. Even though it is in the Carrier Dome for the Orange, the motivation will not be there for them. It will be for the Panthers. They had their top 3 playmakers back on offense. All signs point to a Pittsburgh victory. And with that, the Orange will finish 2021 at 2-10. And I know that's not what many want to hear. 2-10, winless in the ACC, something that's impossible. And I'm looking at it, guys, if you're going to give Syracuse a conference win, it's probably most likely going to come against Pittsburgh, Louisville, maybe Boston College. That's it. That's it if you're Syracuse. 19 returning starters, usually a good thing. 19 returning starters usually means you're in for a big year. That's not going to be the case, especially when you look at the returning talent the ACC has. COVID throws a lot of things off. That's why Syracuse is stacked. But that's why a team like Wake Forest is stacked. A team like Boston College is stacked. NC State and so many others. The talent simply is not there for the Orange. And 2-10, no wins in conference play will be enough to show Dino Babers the door, and the Orange will have won just 3 games in a span of 2 years after winning 10 in 2018. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at The Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any other prediction videos coming your way. Also, make sure to check out everything down in the description below. Again, check out those expert pick packages, some of the best in the entire country. We have the records to back it up. So go take a look at that over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.